Hi there, this is Hero. Today is the second day of June, and as it starts to warm up, this one has been growing like gangbusters. I'm going to start trimming it. We're not going to try to get this final finish. I'm going to make sure that this has progress and yet still growing kind of on the vigorous side. Remember this? This is where it was cut because this rest of it did not fit in the container. Well, you can see that it's starting to heal, or we call it rolling over, and we want to keep this very vigorous so that this has a chance to heal itself. So if we trim the top so heavy to get a style, it ceases to grow rapidly, then this will slow down also. So anyway, that's one of the things that we're going to do. Here's the part that we cut off. We're going to tend to this as we get the other part done. But anyway, I wanted to show you before I forget that this is the part that got cut off. So when you're working on these material, you have to think in terms of long run. Take the little bit of extra time to get that to heal, and then you'll have a much greater finished product. So I'll go ahead and get started and start pruning some of this. So you got to remember, this has to work as a group, right? So this is technically a raft style, but it's also a version of a grove or multi-planting, right? So we're going to be kind of guiding it along. We're not trying to finish. So each one of these have to become a individual tree. Okay, so here's another one. So everything we learned about in individual trees applies here, except now we got everything put together, and then they have to work as a unit eventually. So for now, I'm just going to put some really rough shape. Well, if you don't do anything, this being a type of Chinese elm, right? They get top heavy, so you end up with a ruined line. We always talk about the taper and the movement. Well, that's what we're working on right now. We got to get those elements in place. Well, they're going to try to grow as a canopy. So the top will continue to grow a little bit faster. So what we have to do is to make sure that we keep this top part in check. So you'll probably notice that I'm pruning the top heavier than I am on the bottom. That's very intentional. Okay, so now what was this? Oh yeah, another tree. So well, like I was saying, today is the second day in June. Well, it was relatively cool till yesterday. Then it started to warm up, and today it's going to be even warmer into the 90s, and then I think tomorrow is going to drop back down. We've been having a lot of this extreme up and downs. Was it last week? We had record 100 something, and then the next day it dropped 20 degrees. So, well, it's hard on the human body, but it's also hard on these plants. They like this gradual going up, then gradually going down, and it's been going up and down, up and down. And I think this is a Seiyuan elm, so it's type of a Chinese elm. These tend to be okay, but some of my other plants are not looking their best. So little trees in every single one. Okay, now when you have a group of planting, there's always the big tree, right? This is our number one tree. And then it goes down to smaller and smaller. And then I think as a general rule, this sort of goes, so towards the end, it gets shorter, more or less forming a triangle. Now, I think further down the line, I'll start to define these branches a little bit better. But right now, I'm just making sure our main line gets developed and do not end up with a reverse taper or a big fat top somewhere up here. And then we're coming around to the number 2 tree, so it should be shorter than that, but taller than the others. That's about right. So most of the time, it's better to do a lot of quick trim than to do a major one all the time. You want to keep these as healthy as possible so they grow rapidly, which kind of drives you crazy, but in the overall scheme of things, I think that's the best way. Yeah, so how this works is these kind of get trimmed as individual trees, and then well, in the future rounds, these will get to the point where they become the unit. So right now, we're not concerned about things that crisscross over each other. We just primarily trying to shape individual trees. And then further down the line, we will start to think in terms of, well, you can't have this and this branch crossing each other, things like that. But at this stage, I'm not going to be worried that much. So just a lot of light pruning all the time. It makes for a much better material. I think it's coming along. Actually, in the future, we might be removing some of these little trees because it gets busy, hard to see the style. But like I said, we don't have to do that yet because, no. Because we're waiting for this to heal over. Actually, the way it's going, it looks like it's going to be pretty good. Yeah, see all this rolling over? So once that's healed over, we could actually start to get in there and really start styling this better. Which I think probably by next year, we should have a really good finished look for this. Okay, I think you start to see glimpses of future trees, right? Not even sure if this is the front or what. There's a lot of extras. It's okay. We could just make sure that our wound gets healed, and then these are starting to be guided. And I think it's about where it should be at this point in time. Okay, this is the part that got cut off. And I guess we should get started on some rough pruning. Well, it's at least take a look and see what we have inside here, right? So I'll just cut off some just to see what we got. Okay. Well, it's good to see that this is very vigorous. Okay, now, okay, this is the big wound where we got cut off, and we want to keep as many things growing around it so that it will heal. But this one here looks like it's kind of getting in the way, so I'm going to remove that. And then we're going to need something big, one, maybe two, so that we start to develop some sort of apex. So let me just kind of trim that way. And see these little green things here? They will help heal that. So this will be our future apex. So we're going to let this grow as big and thick as possible. And then maybe a secondary right here. And come around this backside, probably don't need that. Okay, so let's put all the energy in here, let this get big, get to the point where maybe it's like this, and then we cut it, then it will be a nice transition from this point into this, right? So, oh, this one's got a long ways to go, but okay. So this one has a long ways to go trying to get a new apex, but look at what we have to work with. Look how big this base is, right? Because we cut it off of that other guy. And yeah, so probably going to be a 3-4 year project, but it'll be something that's not even attainable in 10 if you went the normal way. So yeah, it's working out well. We'll probably try to show you more updates in the future. So what am I going to do with this? I'm going to put a lot of fertilizer here, let that grow as fast as it can, and get it tall and thick, and then cut it. Well, I guess job's done for today, so I'm going to sign off. This is Hiro saying goodbye. I'll see you again real soon in another chapter. So this was the arching style Seiju and elm that we did earlier in the year. So today is the second day in June, and we are going into the heat, and these type of Chinese elms loves the heat, so they'll grow. So I'm going to put fertilizer on here and put it back. See you again real soon. Goodbye.